I make cookies, I need to be wearing a mask.
We're here. It is the 30th, right? 29th. I just put the wrong date in on there.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. It's 29th. So sit comfortably. Lose track of time. That's what holidays do. It makes you totally lose track of time. Ah, here comes Sandy. Anyway, take your time, settle in. You come on in, you're fine. A lot of room. And just close your eyes, lengthen up through the top of your head, let your shoulders melt down. Just appreciate feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Feeling your belly rise a little bit as you breathe in. And you know, if you're comfortable, to come into those 3-part breaths, you can inhale into the belly, then up higher into your ribs, then up a little higher towards your chest. Release your arms on out beside you. If you're on the ground, your fingertips can lightly touch the floor. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open our arms on back out and down. And now just make one big arm circle. Bring your arms forward and up, and be really mindful. Only go as far back as feels okay to do. Arms back behind you and down. And then we'll reverse and start moving backwards first with the arms. And then up and over the top and bringing them on forward and down. And then let's float the arms on out from the shoulders like a T position there with your arms. Let your palms face down. Let your shoulders really kind of soften down. Doesn't take long to feel the weight of your arms, that's for sure. And then bring your right arm on top of your left. Give yourself a hug here. Let your chin come down a little towards your chest. And then move your head around a little, however much feels good to you. I mean, you can kind of roll an ear towards your shoulder, or you can let yourself just turn your head a little bit, so your chin comes one way and then the other. Just kind of find those places in your neck that feels good to release a little bit. And then come on back into center, bring your gaze on up, and you can stay right here. You can slide to the half eagle wrap or the full eagle wrap. If you want to slide the back of your left hand to the outside of your right elbow, you can do that one. Or you can send the backs of your hands towards each other, or maybe even bring your left fingers into that right palm if you'd like. So be easy, let it feel good. Try not to feel like you're tensing up in your shoulders, but you're opening up between the shoulder blades on your back. And then we'll unwind and bring those arms on down beside us. And let's inhale the arms back out into that T so that the palms face down. Reach out through the fingertips. And then we'll bring the left arm on top of the right. So again, giving that hug at first, wherever you like to hold, lower or higher. And then just letting your head move around. Right? Just be really mindful. If you need to stop and stay one place because your neck feels like, oh, I need to find release there, you can. And then release again to come on back forward with your head. Again, if you want to go to the half wrap, you can slide the back of your right hand to the outside of your left elbow, just pressing them gently towards each other. Or you can do that full backs of the hands towards each other, or maybe even bringing your right fingers to your left palm. But again, just think release in your shoulders, between the shoulder blades on your back. And then we'll unwind our arms right on down beside us. Let your hands circle around a little bit both ways. And then just start to move a little bit forward and back with your breath, letting your exhales bring you forward and your inhales bring you back up. And you know, if you need to change how your legs are, if you're on the floor, you can. You can stretch your legs out rather than be cross-legged if that's better. But just enjoy finding that sense of keeping the long back, exhaling your way forward and inhaling your way back up. Next time you come back upright, let yourself stay there. And we're going to stretch our legs out. Remember which leg you have in front if you're cross-legged. Stretch your legs out for a second, and now let your feet move around in circles, whether you go the same direction with your feet or opposite. Doesn't matter. Whatever feels good. Just keep reversing. Let yourself go both directions and move through the feet and the ankles. And then flex your feet and point them a few times so you let yourself really feel the backs of the legs when you flex and feel your thighs when you point, just to move through. Good. And we're going to come on back to sitting. So, you know, if you're on the floor, if you can switch the cross of your legs if you were cross-legged, but you can leave your legs long, whatever works. And then let your arms come on down beside you. And let's tilt our head to the right ear towards our right shoulder. And then let your left hand just kind of trail up by your ribs on that side and by your shoulder, right by your left ear, and stretch into a nice long arm there. So, of course, if you're on the floor, you can put your hand there on the floor. Just let yourself breathe into that side. And then we'll come on back up, and we're going to lower that arm down. And as you do, then tilt your head, left ear towards your left shoulder. And then take your time. Just really slowly let the hand just drift up by your ribs, the right hand by your ear, and then stretching up all the way up through the fingertips there, letting yourself feel the breath coming into that side of the body. And we're going to come on back up and lower that arm on down. And now let's move forward and back with the breath on this side. So with the different leg in front, it'll feel a little bit different for you all with your hips. So take your time, moving with your breath. Just enjoy keeping that length of your spine now. And now the next time you end up forward, just stay there. And you can go as far as you want. You know that if you're in your chair, you want to separate your feet. You can bring your elbows above your knees. You can keep going down with your hands if you choose, but be really mindful of how your back feels. Same thing on the floor. You come as far as feels good to you. Let your head hang if possible. Let yourself release. Maybe even let your head turn a little bit side to side if that feels okay too. One more breath. And we're going to slowly make our way on up, bringing our feet on, back together if we're in our chair. Arms on out beside us again, and let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead, and let our exhale bring our hands right down together in front of our hearts. And spread your fingers out here now, and just gently press your hands a little more firmly together. But when you do, try not to tense up into your shoulders. Try to feel like your shoulders are still melting down away from your ears. Maybe feel your biceps a little more. And then we'll go ahead and release our arms on down. Shake out. We're going to come around towards our hands and knees. You know, if you do not want to be on your knees, let yourself use your chair or get a blanket. If you want to be down on the floor, but you don't feel comfortable, to have your knees right into the harshness of the ground. And then of course the hands, the wrists. Be really mindful of how you feel. If you need to hold the edge of the seat of a chair or come to your fist, that'll take that wrist crease away. And just be mindful as you start to play a little bit with your cat-cow, really. I mean, just start to move easily through the back. Just feeling that initial movement of your tailbone, and then kind of bring your awareness up your spine. So once the tailbone moves into the direction it's going to go, then you just sort of follow up the spine into either your cat or your cow. Let it feel really good to wake up and back, and this also wakes up your belly, of course, and not to mention your shoulders and your hips. And then finish off the one you're on so that you can come back to a more neutral spine. And then just turn your head to look to the right. Let your right hand come off the floor and just start to float it up. Now you might stop when your arm is just straight out from your shoulder, or you might want to keep going up, 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 up towards the ceiling. That depends on you. And then bring that hand on back down. Look to the left now. And again, you might want to just let the hand come. Stay right out from your shoulder with your hand there, or you might want to bring it up. And it depends on you how it feels, up into your shoulder. And then we'll slowly come on back down with that arm. And we're going to step our left foot forward and our right foot back and come into that first lunge. So now really getting yourself situated in the length of your stance. And of course, having a little bit of width in the stance too, so that you feel good. You can feel that sense of reaching into that inner right heel, really getting into the back of the leg and finding length through the whole back body. Good. We're going to switch legs. It doesn't matter how you do that, whether you like to step forward or back. And again, just enjoy opening up here into the back of the leg. Engage your belly. Let your shoulders feel like they're just coming down easily away from your ears. Good. We're going to switch again. Again, once you get into the pose where you feel pretty solid and you're stable there, let your left hand come on up to your left hip and roll that shoulder up a little bit, coming into a bit of a twist there in the lunge. You can put the hand on the low back. You can reach it up if you want to. And then we'll come on back down with the hand, and we're going to switch legs again. So again, as you get yourself really into the pose, mindful and ready to bring that right hand up and roll that shoulder up, you can find that twist there in the middle of your back. You can stretch your right arm up, or you can keep your hand down. Good. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. Let's step forward and come into our standing forward bend. And really pay attention. Do you need more support? Do you need to be up higher? Do you need to keep your back really long rather than just folding forward? Just feel how your back feels, and see if you can. Just bend one knee at a time a little bit, just like you're walking in your forward bend. And you can do that by either lifting the heel up when you bend the knee, or you can keep your feet flat on the floor and bend one knee at a time. It changes how that feels, so you can do a little bit of both if you want. And then come on back to center and feel your sitting bones over your heels. See if you can start to really feel your breath coming in and going out, and let your ribs expand in all directions when you breathe in. Maybe when you exhale, just imagine that the top of the head kind of drops a little lower towards the ground or your chair, right? Full, deep, even breaths. So one more breath here. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips as we press into our feet. We'll rise up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, as our hands come down, think about the top of the head getting higher up towards the ceiling. And then once you get there, shift a little bit forward and back. Not so much that you feel like you're going to fall over, right? Just shift a little to the balls of the feet and then back a little more towards your heels. And then see if you can stop right back at center where you feel very even between the balls of your feet and your heels. Feel the tailbone dropping down. Think about your hips being over your ankles and your shoulders over your hips. Feeling very balanced, really, front to back and side to side. And as we unfold our arms right down beside us here now, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bend our knees and come on forward into standing forward bend. As you inhale, find that flat back. Wherever you want your hands to be, you can put them on your shins, you can put them up on your thighs, on your chair or your blocks. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. So find again, this time engage a little deeper in this lunge by trying to make your mat longer with your feet. You're pressing your feet away from each other, engaging the belly, feeling the belly engaging. And we're going to come on into a downward facing dog pose. Your choice whether you want your down dog to be hands on a chair or on blocks or on the floor. Walk your dog a little bit if you can. Bend one knee at a time so you can let yourself again come a little more into the backs of your legs. Good. Enjoy feeling the length of the spine. Come on back to your full dog. Whether your knees are bent or straight, doesn't matter. Elbows hug towards each other. And we'll come on out towards a plank. Now, you know you don't have to do a full push-up pose. That is totally up to you. You can go down to your forearms if you need to get out of your wrist, or you can put your knees down and do a half plank. If you like push-ups, you can bend your elbows, kind of let the elbows come in towards the ribs if you're going to try a little push-up there. Do a little yoga-style push-up. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose again. Now let's bring our right foot forward to come into lunge. It doesn't matter what you need to do to get that foot forward. You can put your knee or knees down. Take your time. Really press those feet again away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat. Feel what that does to your belly and your low back and your hips. Good. We'll step forward from here, coming into standing forward bend. So again, be mindful. I mean, if you're fine to come forward and it feels even better to hold your elbows with your hands, you can. Or if it feels better to put your hands on blocks or use the chair. Or of course, there's always the elbows above the knees, which is an easy one to keep that low back long. And then just breathe. Nice, easy breaths. Let your face feel soft. If you feel like you're gripping your jaw at all, you know, just kind of, if you need to move your mouth around a little bit, do. And then from here, we're going to let our knees bend, bring our hands to our hips, and rise straight on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right back up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms like wings and fold forward. Let your knees bend. It takes it out of your back into your standing forward bend. And on your next inhale, let that nice long back happen. Reach back through your tailbone, forward and out through the top of your head. And we'll step the left foot back this time, coming into lunge. Think of your shoulders drawing down again. Think of zipping up your low belly. And we'll come on into a downward facing dog pose again. So making your way again into your dog of choice. Feel those elbows softly hugging in, remember, so you find a really good place for your shoulders. And if your shoulders don't feel good, sometimes just changing where your hands are helps. Think of your head being in line with your spine. Good. We're going to come on out towards a plank, and again, you do not have to do a full one. You can do a half plank. You can do forearm plank. You can come out, bend your elbows, come a little more if you like into your shoulders, into your arms and your biceps. Or you can stay in plank and really find that core strength. So using your belly and your low back and your hips. Good. And then we'll come on back again into downward facing dog pose. So walk your dog a little bit. Let your head turn from side to side as you bend one knee at a time. So you're, really feeling good, release through your neck. Good. And then come on back to finish with full dog and head at center now. Think about your head being in line with your spine. And we're going to bring our left foot forward to find lunge from here. So again, you can put your right knee down or both knees down if you need to. Whatever works to get you back to that lunge. Feel your shoulders down away from your ears. And then we'll come on forward into standing forward bend again. So full deep breaths. Easy, released, heavy head really. And then bring your awareness to your feet for just a second. Let yourself feel the toes float up briefly off the floor. And then that'll kind of tell you if you're rolling to the outside or the insides of your feet. So it's like you want to think about the base of your big toe mound and the base of your little toe mound into the ground equally. And then let your toes just softly come back down to the floor. We're going to bring our hands on up to our hips and bend our knees and rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And let's unfold our arms. Bring our hands behind us and interlace your fingers there. But your palms are apart, right? And then from here, when you inhale, see if your hands can just come off of your buttocks a little bit there. And then when you exhale, let them come back to touch. So inhale, let the hands come a little away. You feel it across the front of your chest. Exhale, let them come back down. And then one more time, inhaling the hands away. And exhale, let them come back down. Now this time, keep your hands down. Take an inhale. And when you exhale, bend your knees first and then come forward. See if you can get maybe parallel to the floor with your torso. So you've got kind of a 90-degree angle at your hips. You're looking straight down. Take your time there. Let yourself really reach back through your tailbone and forward and out through the top of your head. And you can either stay there, or if you want to continue forward and fold over your legs more, you can. That's up to you, and you know that. And if you want to release your arms off your back at all, if your shoulders let you do that, you can let your hands come off the back once you're forward. One more breath there. And then release your arms on down. Next inhale, we'll find that long, flat back. Remember, wherever you want your hands to support you there. And then we're going to walk into a downward facing dog pose. So you let your hands go to the surface you like to use. Walk your way back into your down dog. Hug those elbows towards each other and feel like you're equally long through the sides of your body. All that space in your spine here now. Good. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out to plank. Now, you can stay in plank here. You can do the same thing we did before, push-ups or stay in plank. Or you can come into a back bend. If you'd like to come to a back bend, you can come to the floor and go either to your forearms into a sphinx, or you can come into a little cobra or an up dog. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Remember, back bends are totally optional. Walk your dog a little bit. Move a little bit if you like to turn your head, and that always feels a little more releasing to you do. And then we'll come on back to full dog, and we're going to do that same thing. Come out towards that plank, and it's optional to do a back bend. Stay in plank if you'd rather. And what kind of a back bend is totally optional as well. Good. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. From here, let's bring our right foot forward to come into lunge. Again, if you need to put your left knee down or both knees down, do. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. feet right underneath us, hips distance apart and parallel. And again, just be mindful of your own back. You know, sometimes after that many sun salutations, you start to feel more of a release, and maybe you can bring your hands to a different place, right? And then just accept those breaths. Easy in and out through your nose. And then we'll let our hands come up to our hips, press into our feet as we rise up to standing, and we're going to inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So let yourself, for a second here, and standing in your mountain pose, whether your eyes are open or closed, looking forward, let your hands just barely separate. So they're actually not quite touching, but they're really close together. And then reconnect your thumbs and your pinky fingers and let the other fingers spread a little more apart. It's kind of like you're making a little bowl in front of your chest with your hands. And then just enjoy. It's almost like feeling like you're opening your heart a little bit. Let yourself just really enjoy feeling the connection of your hands. Feel your feet in the floor. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and let your fingers come all the way, all of them together again. Meet back up there at center. And then we'll release our arms on down beside us. Shake out a little bit. If you need to move around, by all means do. I'm really glad those people aren't up on this room. And we're going to turn our chairs around. It's kind of annoying, but you know, we've all gotten kind of used to this roofing sounds in our neighborhood. So stepping our right foot back and our left foot forward for warrior two. And you know, if you have your chair there, you can put your hand on your chair to give you support till you feel like you're stable, lining your heels up, bending into that front knee. And then taking your time when you start to feel like your arms can come on up and out from your shoulders, let your shoulders soften down. That same thing we did sitting in the chair when we had our arms out beside us. Try not to think of your shoulders holding up your arms at the top, but instead it's muscles that come around underneath your arms that are holding them up there. So you can soften the tops of your shoulders. Press your feet gently away from each other. Let's bring our right hand down, turn our left palm up, and slide your right hand more down your leg as you lift up towards the ceiling with that left hand. Breathing into the left ribs. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to come into sine angle, where you can either put your left hand, your forearm, on your chair or on your thigh, and you can bring that right arm up into line with the right side of the body if your shoulder lets you, or you can keep your right hand down on your hip, right? Don't force anything about that. Let yourself feel good. Feel that length through both sides of the body still. Your spine is still nice and long. We're going to come on back to warrior two. Press the feet gently away from each other as you come. Reach out through your fingertips. And then we'll let our hands come down, and we're going to come down to find lunge. So you may want to use, your chair to help you shift that right foot so that the heel's directly behind your foot, or you might want to go down lower to get into your lunge using blocks or the chair seat. And then we'll add the twist of left hand to the left hip, rolling that shoulder up. Palm can stay down at the base of your spine there, or you can stretch that right arm up if you choose. Imagine, if you can, that your head is still a part of your spine, so you don't drop your head down, right? But you also don't lift your head up, which both of those kind of make the neck uncomfortable. One more breath. And then we're going to bring our hand on back down to lunge, and we're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. Let yourself come into wherever you need to be, whatever support you like. Breathe into the rib cage nice and deeply and fully. Good, and then we'll bend both our knees, bring our hands to our hips, and rise on up. We'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our hearts, coming into that mountain pose. So again, if you like to sway a little bit, sometimes coming to mountain, your body just wants to adjust a little bit, right? So swaying is fine. Finding that sense of being equally balanced between your feet. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms come on down again. Shake out a little bit. And we're going to come around to the other side. So stepping left foot back. Again, you can have your hand on your chair. How far you step your feet apart, it can be 2 feet, it can be 3 feet, it can be 4 feet. Once you bend that front knee, you'll kind of know what feels good up into your hips. Take your time, really get aligned there. And then when you're ready to add the arms, letting the arms float on up and turning to look out over that right hand there, softening your shoulders down, feeling the feet in the floor. And again, imagine your arms are not, you're not tensing up to hold your arms up. It's underneath. We're going to put our left hand down on our left leg, turn our right palm up, slide your left hand down that leg as you reach up with the right hand, till you get just to that place where you're like, I can take a nice full breath to expand the right ribs. And on your next exhale, come on into your side angle. So again, it can be your hand, it can be your forearm. You can let yourself come with the torso out over that front leg. You can keep your left hand down on your hip, or you can add the arm up if it'll come into line with the left side of the body, or you can bring it straight up too. Either one. Let it feel really good. Feel again, it's that sense of being equally long through the sides of your body. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two now, pressing the feet gently away from each other, gets us right back into that core strength. And then we'll let our hands come down. We're going to find that lunge, remember. So, you may just decide you want to stay up fairly high. You may want to go down to blocks or down to the seat of your chair, or however low you want to go. Bringing the right hand onto your hip once you're established, and then rolling that shoulder up. So again, you can stay right there, hand down, finding the head in line with your spine, or reaching the arm up if that feels really good for you. Take your time. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hand on back down, and we're going to step forward. And again, get your feet right underneath you. Come into your forward bend, however feels good. Use whatever support you like. You know that. Elbows above your knees, hands on the blocks. Maybe you feel really good to let your arms just hang down. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to press into our feet equally, rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Enjoying your mountain pose again. Letting your body find its way in, right, to being as equal and balanced as you can. And then we'll go ahead and release our arms on down. Shake out a little bit. And this time we're going to step our right foot back for Warrior One. So letting yourself step back with that right foot, front-facing warrior. So, like, if you don't have a chair there, pretend you do for a second, like you're reaching your hands down to the chair seat, and back, and turn your palms towards each other. Look down at your left knee, and then just make sure you're comfortable in the angle of that right foot. It can be 20, 30 degrees. Everybody's different. And then start to bring your arms up parallel to the floor. Bring your gaze forward. Feel the feet equally into the floor here. And then keep the arms rising up and wider into like a wide open V. Let your pinkies turn more towards each other. You can look up a little if you choose. See if you can just enjoy inhaling up the front of your body. Imagine the breath going over the top and the exhale flowing down the back of your body. Good. Energy all the way up through the fingertips. One more breath. And then we'll lower our arms on down. We're going to straighten this front leg out, right? Our hips are pretty square. We're going to start to come forward for pyramid pose. Now, if you've got your chair there, you can put your hands down right away on the back of the chair. Stay up higher if you want. You can go down to your blocks or your chair seat in your pyramid pose if that feels good. Just, be mindful. Feel the thighs lifting up towards the hips. So you're coming into pyramid pose, letting yourself really feel equal through the sides of the body. Good. Now, if you'd like to fold more over that front leg, you're more than welcome to. If it feels really good to fold forward, to bow over your leg, do it. One more breath. And then bend that front knee. We're going to come back to warrior one with our hands to our heart. So you've got to use the belly, the core body, to lift you back up into that warrior one where you're facing front with your hands to your heart. And then we'll let our hands come down, and we're going to turn our feet to come into a wide-legged forward bend so they're parallel. Grab your blocks, of course, if you know you like your blocks. And then just come on forward, whatever height you want to be with your hands. Let your back be long. And kind of adjust by bending a knee at a time, if it's okay for your knees, till you kind of get to where the width feels really good and how far apart your feet are. Good. And then finish off back at center here now. And take your time, bend both your knees actually, and let's put our elbows, if we can, right above our knees, supporting ourselves there for a long back. So it's a squat. You're reaching back through your tailbone, forward and out through the top of your head. Good. And now, be really mindful when you start to come into the pose to stay for a few breaths. If you need to stack blocks up so that you can keep yourself supported with a long back, you can use blocks to help you do that. You can get out of your hands. Some of you I know really like to just go ahead and fold and let your head go upside down, right? So your top of your head's towards the ground. So be really aware of what your back is feeling like. Take your time. Go to a place where you can stay with your breath very easily, right? So that you're not feeling any kind of discomfort in your body. And you can just watch the breath. See if you can let yourself imagine in those little spaces between your breaths that you're just letting go a little more. Every time you come to the end of an inhale before you exhale, and when you come to the end of your exhales before you inhale, you feel this little space where you just imagine relaxing a little deeper. From here, to think of slowly rising up. It is up to you how you do that. If you need to change how far apart your feet are before you come up, do. If you're dizzy at all, if you need to grab anything, do, or keep your feet apart for a little bit. And then kind of walk around a little bit, move around through your feet and your ankles. We're going to come to the other side, so this time it will be the left foot that steps back for that warrior one. Again, front facing, which means your shoulders are square to the front of your mat. If you're in a pretty short stance, like I am, your hips are pretty square too already, right? But the angle of this foot back here, that's what you want to feel open in the front of this hip, but you don't want any discomfort in your knee, right, or your ankle there. Arms are going to come down. If you have the chair, you can feel like you're reaching to the back of the chair there or towards the corners of your mat, really. And then when you start to rise the arms up, take your time, let them float up. Imagine your thumbs are leading your arms on up overhead. Turn your pinkies more towards each other. And if you want to look up, try to feel like there's a lift right here at the base of your shoulder blades. So there's no compression in your low back. Your low back is really lengthened. Your left sitting bone is reaching down towards your left heel. You know, you're not trying to curl your tailbone under. It's actually reaching back on a diagonal line. So inhale up the front of the body over the top. Exhale down the back of your body. You'll equal through your feet on the floor. One more breath. And then we'll come forward with the gaze, lower the arms on down, straighten that front leg out, and start to come on forward. Again, you may decide you want to stay up high, hands up higher. You're still, even if you're up high in a pyramid pose, you are working thighs lifting up, you're working your legs, you're working all the muscles around your knees. Coming farther forward is totally optional. You can let yourself, remember, feel that lift upward of your thighs. Take your time, let the backs of the legs open up. And you know, you can go farther and bow over that front leg if you like doing that. You can let yourself really fold over the front leg. That's not good for everybody, so sometimes it's better to keep your back long. One more breath. Now remember the rising up from here, bending the front knee, bringing your hands back to your heart as you come back to warrior one. Really feeling what happens to be able to do that. And then we'll unfold our arms. We're going to turn sideways again for that wide-legged forward bend. So if you didn't bring your blocks around, you might want to grab them and bring them over. And come on forward, letting your hands come to whatever surface you like. And again, bend a knee at a time if you can, so that you feel like you can adjust the width of your stance to where it feels good. Good. And then come on back to where your knees are either equally bent or equally straight. And lengthen out your spine. Now, I like to use blocks under my hands, but you can have your hands on the floor, but have a nice long back here, because we're going to add a twist. We're going to let our right hand come up to our right hip and roll the shoulder up. Now, you can put your palm flat on your sacrum there if you want, or you can stretch the arm out. More power to you if you like doing that in this pose. It's quite something for a shoulder to be able to do that. And then come on back down with your hand, and we're going to go the other side. So as the left hand comes up, you roll the shoulder up and you look to the left. You're flat right there on your sacrum. The twist is in the middle of your back. And again, if you like to stretch that arm up, it's a very different shoulder stretch if you do that. And then come on back down again. And settle yourself in again to where you feel comfortable to be. I mean, I know some of you might want to hold your ankles or put your hands between your feet and let your head hang. And some of us might need to keep a long back. So, you can always put your elbows above your knees to support yourself and let your head hang. Or you can use your blocks any way you want, for your head, for your forearms, for your hands. And then just go to your breath again. Finding that sense of really releasing into those long, deep breaths. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to slowly bring ourselves up. So again, if you need to adjust your feet before you come up in any way, do it. And be mindful if you're dizzy. If it was a while upside down, bring your feet on together. Move through your feet and your ankles a little bit, and you'll know. Good. And now you can leave your stuff on your mat where it is, but go to a place on the wall where you can just touch the wall and kind of spread yourself out, social distancing somehow, right? Yeah. How about right there? Yeah. And we'll do a little tree pose first, all right? Let's do left hand towards the wall. No, let's do right hand. Let's start on a different leg. So right hand towards the wall. You're going to stand on your right foot. And you can decide if you want to rest your heel on the inside of your ankle or put your left foot up into the inside of your right calf. Or maybe you want to reach down and pull your foot up into the inside of your inner thigh, above your knee, right? You just don't want to push on your knee with that left foot. And then take your time. You can play with keeping your hand at the wall. You're more than welcome to bring your arms overhead, hands to the heart, There are a lot of things you can do with arms and tree pose. Try to keep your focus, and if you do feel like, oh, well, I want to change where I put my hands, you can always use the wall to help you change. Just feeling that uplift in the front of that right leg. So you're not tucking your tailbone under you, right? But you're feeling this sense of the foot coming into the inside of your leg and the inside of your leg coming back into your foot. We're going to come on down from there and turn around. Take care of that leg you're standing on. And then stepping onto that left foot. And again, you can adjust. You know, you can start with your foot one place. And then, you know, maybe you decide, well, I want to change. You know, I want to keep the heel on the inside of the ankle and stay like that, or I want to put the foot up into my calf, or, you know, if your hips feel really good to bring your foot into your inner thigh, that's fine. So just play, let your gaze come forward so that you're not looking down, which rounds the upper back, but you're looking up and forward and out, like you're looking way out at the horizon. And again, you can change your hands a little bit. You can decide to use the wall. No big deal, just let it feel like you're playing in tree pose instead of trying to force yourself into it. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to come on down. We're going to turn to face the wall. And now, come into like a plank. Now, you could be on fists. If your wrist bothered you, and you step your feet back like you're doing a plank pose here at the wall, you can come to fists. Or if you're okay to go flat onto your hands, spread your fingers out. And bring your hands straight out from your shoulders, right? Don't let them be up high. Let them be down lower a little bit, right? So they're not up straight from the top of your shoulders, more like from down underneath your arms, right? And then bend your elbows a little bit. Don't go very far. Hug your elbows towards each other like you're doing a push-up. Feel your sitting bones reaching for your heels. And then come back again to straighten your arms out a little. And now, see if you can do a little deeper push-up that way. Coming in towards the wall. You can come out when you're ready. And see if you can maybe do a few push-ups. They don't have to be full ones. You don't have to get yourself all the way to the wall. You may just go halfway, which is really hard, and then come back. If you do these on the floor and you come halfway into a push-up like this on the ground, it's very intense. It's called Chaturanga in yoga. So finish off if you can. And then come onto your forearms at the wall. Let yourself clasp your hands, send your pinky finger out. Press into your forearms like you're in a forearm plank. And then bend your knees a little bit. Send your hips back a little bit. So that changes the angle of your shoulders. Right? And you might want to stay just right there. Just pressing into your forearms. Hug your elbows towards each other. I know some of you will want to slide your arms down the wall more. Shift your hips back more, which is more intense in the shoulders. Right? So don't do it. If it bothers your shoulders, stay more towards that plank, maybe just with your hips a little bit back. If you want to slide more towards that 90-degree angle, do it. Nice. Just be really mindful. One more breath. And then come on back towards the wall, but turn your back to the wall. This time, turn around. Let your feet come out a little bit, maybe, 6 to 8 inches from the wall. Let your head rest on the wall there. Bend your knees just a little bit. And then see if you can send your hips forward, all right? And you might even, your shoulders might be off the wall. They might be on the wall. It doesn't matter. Keep your gaze forward, though. And then see if you can straighten your legs out a little bit, which really brings you into opening up here in the front of your hips. Keep the belly engaged. If this is too much on your back, get closer to the wall with your feet, right? Now, some of you may decide, oh, I just really want to look up. It feels good because you got the wall there. It's supporting your head, right? And your shoulders can just open. It is a back bend. Be mindful. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Get closer to the wall. All right, just let yourself enjoy feeling the support of the wall on either your shoulders or your head or both. And then we're going to shift our hips back to the wall. Maybe walk your feet out a little bit. This is up to you. Bend your knees a little bit like you're in chair, right? And you're in a chair pose. And let the wall support you here. You can turn your palms forward and press the backs of your hands towards the wall. And you can go as deeply down as you want to. And really, if you want to go deeply into bending those knees, go for it. That is totally up to you. And if you're like, no, this is quite enough work without bending so deeply, then stay up higher. So you'll feel your quads and your hips. Just open up through the chest a little bit there. One more breath. And now imagine you're kind of peeling yourself off the wall and come forward. And you may just want to kind of rest your hands above your knees to give you a little support. You might feel like it feels better to go down lower and put your elbows above your knees, right? So if that feels like more of a release, do. Your back is still lengthened, right? You're trying not to round up. It's like your heart is melting down towards the ground and you're flattening your back out as best you can. Good. Let the low back and hips release there. One more breath. And then bring your hands to your thighs. Press yourself back up. We're going to bring our feet on back in. And let's turn back to right shoulder at the wall. And really be mindful of this one. Now, don't force it. How close you are to the wall is up to you. But you're going to rise your inside arm up the wall. And you're going to bend your elbow. So this is the one where we keep our gaze forward. How you have to adjust this upper arm is up to you. If you can put your left hand, that bottom hand, onto your low back, letting your palm face out away from you, then you can do that. You can go as close towards the hands up the back towards each other as you want to, right? So you can send the hands closer together if that feels good. Now, everybody's shoulders don't do this, but just coming a little bit like this every day and keeping your gaze forward, making sure you're not rounding into that upper back, does amazing work for the upper back, for our posture. One more breath. And then step away from the wall. Bring that arm on down. All we're going to do is turn around. So kind of shake your arms out a little bit. We're just going to turn the left shoulder towards the wall. And then that inside left arm comes up. And again, if you have to step away from the wall or let your elbow be forward instead of up, but look forward. Make sure you're not looking down, because look what that does to your back. It rounds that upper back, right? Keep your gaze forward. If you can put the bottom hand, the right hand, on your low back with the palm out, do. If that hurts your shoulder, don't do it. Sometimes it's actually that shoulder that this bothers more than the upper shoulder. And then you can decide, does it feel good to send your hands closer towards each other? Feel that openness across your chest. Good. Just make sure you're not locking your knees, and let your tailbone reach down towards between your heels. Good. One more breath. And then step away from the wall so you can bring your arms on down and let them swing around a little bit. Just swing back and forth a little bit with your arms. We're going to walk back to our mats. And we are going to sit down on the floor when we get there. So if you need a blanket to sit on, do it. If you feel better sitting up on something, go right ahead and sit up on a blanket, or even 2 blankets or 3 blankets. Stretch your legs out for a second and let them move around a little bit. Circle your feet around. You can do little leg bounces like that if you want. I like to do little in and out. So my legs do windshield wiper blades, right, or side to side. Good. And now, let's cross our right ankle, either above or below our left knee here. So this leg is long, and this leg is bent. If you have to not cross over, you can put it to the inside, right? So that's up to you. If you can cross, do, if it's possible. If not, don't. And then just take your time, let yourself come a little bit forward. Coming from the low back forward. Now that might mean, a fraction of an inch. So just be mindful. If you're able to put your left hand on the foot here, on the right foot, and kind of press the ball of your foot into your hand, you can. And some people even like to interlace their fingers a little bit between their toes. You don't have to go all the way down, into the root of your toes or anything. But if you can separate your toes a little bit, it's really good for your toes. And, if you do this at home with that, a thing like for painting your nails, a toe separator, it's really a really good thing to do for your feet. So, let's take one more breath or two here to let yourself feel the opening in the back of that left leg, as well as, of course, your hip. And then we'll come on back up. Take a nice inhale. Release your foot, and as you exhale, twist towards your right here. So bring yourself on around and twist. And it doesn't matter where you put your left hand. It can be like on your shin. It can go over to your knee. Let yourself feel that length up through the top of your head. And now think of your sitting bones drawing down equally into the floor. Good. One more breath. And then slowly come on back around into center. Take your time. We're just going to switch our legs out. So again, we're all different for the hips. If it's too much, don't bring that foot up so high. If you need to let the foot stay and not cross, or you can cross lower, right? Or you can cross higher. Again, wherever you have that foot, if when you think of coming forward, you're able to put your hand on your foot, you can. And you can kind of press the foot, ball the foot into your hand. You can think about trying to get your fingers between your toes. And sometimes one foot is a lot more cooperative than the other with that. But take your time. Let yourself just enjoy. And if it's a little too much to come forward, you can always, when you inhale, come back out of the forward bend a little bit. When you exhale, maybe come a little bit forward again. It feels better to do that. Good. And one more breath here. And then we're going to come on back up to the top. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our left. So again, it doesn't matter where you put your right hand, or it doesn't matter, same thing with the back hand, right? The left hand. Fingertips just lightly touching, but be aware of feeling your sitting bones equally into the ground. Let yourself enjoy finding that twist there. Doesn't matter how far back behind yourself you look either. Good. One more breath. And then when you start to come back around, take your time, move on back around into center. And we're going to bring our legs on out, stretch them out a little bit, kind of do again whatever you like, bounces or wiper blades. And we're going to come down to our backs on the floor. So you might want to have your blocks handy, just in case you want them. And well, if you like to roll down, you're more than welcome. If it feels good to you to think of like sequentially rolling down through your spine to come down to the floor, that is certainly okay, but it's not for everybody's back. Once you do get down, bring your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg down long on the floor. You can hold behind your right thigh. You can hold below your knee on your shin if you want. Let that feel good. Just enjoy. And then we'll switch legs. We'll bring the left leg in and stretch that right leg down on the floor. Good. And then we'll bring both knees in towards the chest. Let your knees come a little side to side. Or maybe you feel good to circle your knees. So, you know, if you like to have the knees circle in the same direction and then reverse when you're ready, you can. In other words, just pay attention to how your back feels, all right? And then we'll bring our feet back down to the floor. And let's set up for a little bridge pose. You have your blocks handy, so if you decide to do a supported bridge, you can. But bring your arms down alongside you at first. And bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Let your palms face each other, all right? Think about your feet being parallel, a little bit wider than they are in mountain. And now press into the backs of your upper arms. Feel your chest float up and your whole spine actually comes off the ground. And then lift your hips up in the air a little bit. Press into your feet equally. Feel your thighs. And then let yourself come back down. And we're going to do about, a few of those. Again, press into your arms. Inhale, rise up your hips. Stay there for a breath in your bridge. And then lower back down again. And let's do it again. Inhaling, rising the hips up. Press equally into your feet. This time, see if you can lift your heels up too. Keep pressing into your arms. And then lower your heels down. And then we'll lower our hips on back. to have your legs a little bit more or less wide. I mean, little things can make a big difference, right? So just let yourself release now into your breath. Just come to watch those breaths in and out. If you need to physically adjust a little bit, do it. But just keep returning now to your breath. So following your breath all the way in and out, watching it like you would if you were watching waves of the ocean coming in and going out. And just feel how your body wants to relax as your breath quiets down. And so does your brain. You'll find those little quiet places that come in and you'll realize you're thinking again, but you can just come back to the breath again and find a little quiet space again. So just give yourself these few minutes. Let your body benefit the way it needs from all you just did. Let yourself completely and fully relax.